First Contact's Price. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the Earth Defense Force flagship Horizon, watching the gleaming research station Athena spin slowly against the backdrop of stars. After 20 years of peaceful contact with galactic civilization, humanity had grown comfortable, perhaps too comfortable. The Meridian Collective's delegation was due to arrive any minute for what should have been a routine inspection of the Joint Research Facility. Admiral. Her AI assistant Aria's voice was unusually tense. Multiple ships emerging from FTL. Energy signatures don't match registered Meridian diplomatic vessels. Chen's muscles tensed, the instincts honed on humanity's harsh homeworld screaming danger. Show me. The holographic display materialized, showing 12 warships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Their angular crystalline designs marked them as Meridian vessels, but these were definitely not the diplomatic corps. They're charging weapons, Aria reported calmly. No response to hails. Chen's mind raced. The Horizon was officially classified as a science vessel, part of humanity's careful effort to appear non-threatening to their more peaceful galactic neighbors. Only a handful of people knew its true capabilities. "Get me Station Director Phillips," Chen ordered, already knowing they had precious little time. Phillips' hologram appeared, his face grave. "Admiral, we have 300 civilian researchers aboard." The first shots from the Meridian fleet lanced out, striking the station's shields. The barrier flickered, designed for micrometeorite protection, not military-grade weapons. "Get your people to the emergency pods." Chen's voice was steel. "We'll buy you time." The station's shields failed under the second barrage. Chen watched in horror as escape pods began launching, only to be systematically targeted by Meridian weapons fire. These weren't warning shots. This was an execution. Aria, disengage civilian protocols. Chen's words activated sequences that had been waiting 20 years to be triggered. Around the Horizon, armored panels slid away, revealing weapon ports. Reactive armor flowered across the hull like metallic petals opening to the sun. The Meridian commander's transmission was almost smug. "This facility has been deemed a threat to collective security. Your species' attempts at weapons research cannot be." 300 civilian scientists. Chen cut him off, her voice colder than the void of space. "Murdered while trying to escape. Remember that number. It's important. Your primitive vessel cannot hope to." The Horizon moved, not with the lumbering pace of a science vessel, but with the deadly grace of a predator. The ship's true nature revealed itself as it accelerated to attack speed in seconds, maneuvering thrusters firing with pinpoint precision. "Humanity has played by your rules for 20 years. Chen's words were transmitted across all frequencies. "We restricted our military, limited our expansion, smiled at your thinly veiled contempt. We did everything possible to make you comfortable with our presence." The first Meridian ship died before its crew could process what they were seeing. The Horizon's main gun, technology the Collective had deemed theoretically impossible, simply erased it from existence, the vessel's atomic bonds coming apart in a cascade of blue-white fire. "We did this because we understood your fear. Evolution shaped your species in safe, gentle worlds. But Earth," Chen's smile was all teeth now, "Earth tried to kill us every day of our existence. We survived ice ages, mega-predators, and our own nuclear wars. We became the apex predators of a death world." 2 more Meridian ships fell to synchronized missile salvos that somehow bypassed their most advanced countermeasures. The remaining vessels began to retreat, their crews finally understanding the depth of their mistake. "You feared us because you didn't understand us," Chen continued, watching the Meridian fleet's desperate attempt to escape. "Now you've given us reason to show you exactly what humanity is capable of. You murdered our scientists, our best and brightest, who wanted nothing more than to share knowledge with the galaxy." The Horizon moved like liquid death through space, its weapons finding targets with devastating precision. In under 3 minutes, 11 of the 12 Meridian vessels had been destroyed. Chen ordered the last ship disabled rather than destroyed. The galaxy needed to hear what happened here, needed to understand the line that had been crossed. "Take this message to your leaders," she transmitted to the surviving vessel. "Humanity is done playing nice. You have 48 hours to withdraw all Meridian forces from human space. After that, we will show you why Earth is classified as a death world." As the crippled Meridian ship limped away into FTL, Chen turned her attention to rescue operations. They would save who they could, bury their dead, and then the galaxy would learn why every predator on Earth had evolved to fear humans most of all. The silent response. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as species representatives gathered for an emergency session. Floating view screens displayed the wreckage of Meridian warships, their crystalline hulls shattered into clouds of glittering debris. The Meridian ambassador's scales had lost their usual luster as he faced the assembly. This unprovoked show of aggression by the humans, he began, only to be cut off by the appearance of a new hologram. The human representative wasn't physically present, but her projection carried an authority that silenced the chamber. Ambassador Lin's hologram stood calmly, her hands clasped behind her back. The Earth Defense Force's response came after Meridian warships murdered 300 civilian researchers. "We have transmitted proof of this war crime to all member species." The chamber erupted in overlapping translator signals as dozens of species tried to speak at once. The Arxen delegation, gaseous entities contained in their environmental suits, pulsed with agitation. But the human vessel, its capabilities exceed anything registered in your technology disclosure documents. Lin's smile was diplomatic, but her eyes remained hard. The horizon represents a mere fraction of humanity's true military capability. For 20 years, we have maintained a deliberately minimal presence to avoid causing anxiety among our galactic neighbors. You deceived the Council. The Meridian ambassador's translator couldn't quite capture the mix of fear and outrage in his harmonic speech. "No," Lin corrected. "We exercised appropriate caution while integrating into a galactic community that was clearly uncomfortable with our evolutionary background. Humanity's classification as a death world species has led to consistent discrimination, trade restrictions, and now, apparently, preemptive military action. The Council's primary AI projected new data streams, economic reports, shipping manifests, construction records. What had seemed like routine human commercial activity over 2 decades took on new significance. Those cargo ships, the Arxen representatives' containment field rippled. They're military vessels. Some, Lin acknowledged. Others are exactly what they appear to be. That's the advantage of evolving on a world that tried to kill us every day. Humans are very, very good at preparing for the worst while hoping for the best." The Meridian ambassador's scales rattled, a sign of extreme stress. "The collective demands the right to inspect all human vessels and facilities. Your hidden fleet. The collective has 41 hours remaining to withdraw from human space." Lin interrupted. "This is not a negotiation. This is a courtesy notification to the Council that humanity will no longer maintain the artificial restrictions we placed on ourselves." The Arxen's translation came faster now, agitated. "But your registered military forces are outnumbered 10-1 in multiple sectors." "Those aren't military forces," Lin's hologram gestured, bringing up new displays. "Those are genuine civilian ships with basic defensive capabilities. You've never seen an actual human warship. We didn't want to frighten you." The images she displayed caused several species' threat recognition systems to trigger. Vessels that seemed to bend space itself around their hulls. Weapon systems that operated on principles most of the galaxy had deemed impossible. "Humanity hoped for peaceful cooperation," Lin continued. "We still do. But we will not allow the murder of our civilians to go unanswered. The Meridian Collective has a choice: withdraw and face diplomatic consequences, or maintain their current aggression and learn exactly why Earth is classified as it is. You would risk galactic war." The Council Elder's ancient voice cut through the chaos. "With respect, Elder." Lin's hologram turned to face the ancient being. We're not the ones who fired first. Humanity has spent 20 years proving we can be peaceful neighbors. Now we will prove something else, that there are consequences to mistaking our restraint for weakness. The chamber fell silent as new data streams appeared, classified reports of human survival rates in extreme environments, combat effectiveness assessments, and psychological analyses. Species after species began to understand what they were truly seeing, not just advanced technology, but the product of evolution on a world that had forced its dominant species to become the ultimate survivors. We will continue to honor all existing trade agreements and scientific collaborations with non-aggressive species. Lynn's voice was gentler now. Humanity doesn't want war. We've seen enough of it on our own world to know its cost. But we will not hide our strength any longer. As her hologram faded, the council chamber remained silent. The Meridian ambassador's scales had taken on the pale color of extreme fear. His species had evolved on a world of gentle breezes and predictable seasons. They had never needed to adapt to survive ice ages, or develop the neural capacity to outthink pack predators, or build the physical endurance to persist when their very environment tried to kill them. They had just gone to war with a species that had done all of that and more. In the hours that followed, the Galactic Council would watch as humanity's true face revealed itself. Ships emerged from what had been dismissed as empty space, their designs unlike anything in known engineering. Defense platforms appeared in systems where they supposedly didn't exist, their power signatures suddenly unhidden. Humanity had spent 20 years preparing for this possibility while genuinely hoping it would never come. They had built their deterrence and hidden their strength, all while trying to prove they could be peaceful partners in galactic civilization. Now they would prove something else entirely. Predators unleashed. Fleet Commander Maya Santos watched the tactical display aboard the EFSS Hyperion with the patience of a hunter. The Meridian Collective had made their choice. Instead of withdrawing, they had committed their main battle fleet to what they believed was a decisive strike against human-controlled space. "They still think they're hunting us," she murmured, more to herself than her bridge crew. The display showed hundreds of Meridian warships moving in perfect formation, their crystalline hulls refracting starlight like schools of deep-sea predators. Their target was the Arcturus colony, one of humanity's largest off-world settlements. They hadn't yet realized they were the prey. "All ships, execute Operation Thunderbolt," Santos transmitted. "Remember your training. Remember Athena Station." Across 50 light-years of space, humanity's true military revealed itself. Ships emerged from null space pockets, their quantum drives allowing them to ignore conventional laws of physics. Defense platforms that had masqueraded as communication relays powered up weapon systems that the Meridian Collective had deemed theoretically impossible. The Meridian Fleet's formation was perfect by conventional military doctrine and completely vulnerable to what happened next. Multiple hostile contacts. The Meridian flagship sensors blared warnings as human vessels seemed to materialize from nowhere, their stealth systems finally dropping their masks. But it wasn't their sudden appearance that caused panic among the Meridian crew. It was their movement. Human ships didn't move like other species vessels. They didn't follow the graceful, predictable arcs of standard space combat. They moved like animals hunting prey, like sharks circling in blood-darkened waters. Each vessel acted with apparent independence while maintaining perfect coordination with the others. First blood to the wolf packs, Santos noted as the smaller human attack craft struck. They darted between the larger Meridian ships, their weapons finding weak points in armor with surgical precision. The Meridian Fleet's tight formation, intended to maximize overlapping fields of fire, became a liability as ships couldn't fire without risking hitting their own allies. "They're breaking formation," her tactical officer reported, attempting to establish defensive spheres. Santos allowed herself a small smile. "Initiate Phase 2. The larger human warships moved in next. The Hyperion led the charge, its quantum fields warping space itself around its hull. Meridian sensors couldn't get clean locks on vessels that seemed to exist in multiple places simultaneously. Incoming transmission from the Meridian flagship, communications announced. Put them through, Santos ordered. They should understand what's happening. The Meridian fleet commander's image appeared, his scales shifting colors rapidly in distress. What manner of abominations are these ships? Your movement patterns defy all established doctrine. We evolved hunting pack predators on a death world. Santos replied calmly as another wave of human ships struck the Meridian fleet's flanks. Did you think we wouldn't apply those lessons to space combat? Your ships move like herd animals. Predictable, defensive. Ours move like wolves. A massive explosion lit up the tactical display as one of the Meridian heavy cruisers succumbed to multiple precision strikes. The human ships had targeted its power distribution nodes in a pattern that caused a cascade failure. Knowledge gained from 20 years of seemingly peaceful technological exchange. Withdraw your forces, Santos continued. You've lost 60 ships in the last 10 minutes. We haven't lost any. The Meridian commander's scales had gone completely pale. Impossible. Our technological level is exactly what we allowed you to believe it was. Santos cut him off. Humanity hasn't survived this long by showing all our cards at once. This is your final warning. Withdraw, or we will demonstrate exactly why Earth species learned to fear bipedal predators above all others. The Meridian fleet began to retreat, their formation completely broken. But Santos wasn't done teaching them their lesson. She ordered the wolf packs to continue harrying their flanks, forcing them to maintain combat readiness during their withdrawal. The psychological impact would be as important as the tactical victory. Interesting, her tactical officer noted, reviewing the battle data. They never adapted their tactics. Even when their initial strategy failed, they fell back on programmed responses. That's the difference, Santos replied, watching the Meridian ships flee. They evolved on worlds that were predictable, safe. Their military doctrine assumes enemies will behave according to established patterns. But humans. She let the thought hang as she observed the after-action reports. The battle had been completely one-sided, a demonstration of what happened when a species that evolved to be the apex predator of a death world decided to stop playing nice. Send word to Admiral Chen, Santos ordered. The Arcturus sector is secured. And make sure our sensor data is transmitted to the Galactic Council. They should see exactly what happened here. As the Meridian fleet retreated into FTL, Santos considered the battles yet to come. This had been a message, a demonstration of humanity's true capabilities. But if the collective didn't learn from it, the next engagement wouldn't be a mere demonstration. The galaxy was about to learn why every predator on Earth had evolved to recognize humans as the most dangerous hunters of all. The nature of mercy. General Zhao stood in the ruins of the Meridian Command Center on Helios Prime, watching evacuees board their transports. The crystalline architecture of the Meridian administrative capital lay shattered around him, precision strikes having disabled their military capability, while leaving civilian infrastructure largely intact. Sir, his aide approached with a datapad. The Meridian High Command has sent their formal surrender. No conditions, full withdrawal from all contested spaces. Zhao nodded, his weathered face revealing nothing. The campaign had lasted just 3 weeks. Humanity's hidden fleets had struck simultaneously across 12 sectors, systematically dismantling the collective's military infrastructure. The galaxy had watched in stunned silence as centuries of Meridian military dominance crumbled before an enemy they had grievously underestimated. Status of the civilian evacuation, he asked, watching another transport lift off. Proceeding as ordered, sir. Though, the civilians seemed confused by our protocols. They expected summary execution. Zhao turned to face the young officer. They judge us by their own standards, Lieutenant. The collective has a history of enslaving populations they conquer. They assume we'll do the same. The lieutenant's expression darkened. After what they did to Athena Station. We are not them, Zhao interrupted firmly. Humanity survived Earth, not just through strength, but through cooperation. through understanding that mercy isn't weakness. He gestured to the evacuation proceedings, where human medical teams were helping injured Meridian civilians board the transports. This is why we're different. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us, yes, but we survived by helping each other, by understanding that true strength lies in knowing when not to use it. A commotion near one of the transport lines drew their attention. A Meridian child had fallen, its crystalline exoskeleton cracked from the impact. Without hesitation, a human medic rushed to help, applying emergency sealant to prevent atmospheric leakage. The collective thought our restraint was weakness. Joe continued, watching the medic work. They never understood that choosing not to use power requires more strength than wielding it. His communicator chimed, a priority message from Earth Command. The tactical display showed Meridian forces in full retreat across all sectors, their once mighty fleets reduced to scattered remnants. "Send word to all commands," Zhao ordered. "Operation Mercy begins now. Full medical support for all civilian evacuations. No exceptions." The lieutenant hesitated. "Sir, some of the troops. They want revenge for Athena." Zhao's expression hardened. "Then remind them of what Captain Chen said before she died. If we become what we hate, the collective wins anyway." He turned back to watch another transport lift off, carrying Meridian civilians to safety. "We're not here to exterminate them, Lieutenant. We're here to teach them why Earth species became so dangerous, not just through strength, but through the wisdom to know when to use it." Across the planet, similar scenes played out. Human forces, capable of destroying everything in their path, instead helped evacuate civilians and provided medical care. The Meridian survivors transmitted images back to their homeworld, showing their dreaded enemies helping children and treating the injured. In the Galactic Council chamber, these transmissions caused as much confusion as the earlier battles had. Species after species watched in bewilderment as the supposedly savage Deathworlders demonstrated a level of compassion that defied their expectations. "Your forces could have annihilated the Meridian colonies," the council elder addressed Ambassador Lin. "Why show such mercy to those who showed none?" Lin's hologram smiled sadly. "Because that's the true lesson of evolving on a death world, Elder. We learned that survival isn't just about being the strongest or the most ruthless. It's about knowing when to fight and when to help. Every predator on Earth could kill, but only humans learn to heal." The Elder's ancient eyes studied her for a long moment. "You planned this. Not just the military response, but this demonstration of restraint." "Humanity spent 20 years proving we could be peaceful neighbors," Lin replied. "Now we're proving something equally important, that we choose peace not from weakness, but from wisdom." As news of human mercy spread across Meridian space, something unexpected happened. The very civilians they had helped evacuate began telling stories not of the terrifying Deathworlders, but of the strange species that fought like demons yet helped like angels. The galaxy was learning that humanity's true strength wasn't in their hidden fleets or advanced technology. It was in their capacity to remain human even when given every reason not to. A new understanding. 5 years after the Meridian surrender, the Galactic Council gathered for a historic session. The chamber looked different now. The traditional hierarchical seating had been replaced by a circular arrangement, with all species representatives at equal height. At the center of this transformation stood a simple memorial: the names of the 300 scientists who died on Athena Station. Ambassador Lin, now serving as Earth's permanent representative to the Council, stood before the assembly. The chamber's ambient lighting reflected off her formal diplomatic uniform as she addressed the gathered species. 5 years ago, humanity revealed its true nature to the galaxy, she began. Not by choice, but because we were forced to demonstrate why Earth is classified as a death world. Today, we gather to ensure such demonstrations never become necessary again. The Meridian ambassador, younger than his predecessor, his scales shimmering with health, rose to speak. The collective acknowledges its historic mistakes. We feared what we did not understand, and that fear led us to commit an unforgivable act. Lynn's expression softened, yet forgiveness was given. Not because we forgot, but because we understood. Fear makes enemies of those who could be friends. The chamber's holographic displays activated, showing images from across human space. Meridian scientists working alongside human researchers. Joint military exercises between species that had once feared each other. Trading ships moving freely between worlds that had been at war just 5 years ago. Humanity's true strength, Lynn continued, was never in our hidden fleets or advanced technology. It was in our ability to adapt, not just to survive, but to thrive. To take the harsh lessons of our evolution and turn them into wisdom. The council elder spoke next, his ancient voice carrying centuries of experience. When the collective attacked Athena Station, we expected humanity to respond with savage vengeance. Instead, you showed us something remarkable, that being dangerous and being cruel are not the same thing. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day, Lynn replied. But we survived not just through strength or cunning, but through cooperation, through understanding that the greatest victory isn't in destroying your enemy, but in turning them into allies. The displays shifted to show the new Athena Memorial Research Center, a joint project between all council species. Its design incorporated elements from every member civilization, a physical symbol of unity rising from tragedy. The galaxy feared us because we came from a death world. Lynn gestured to the memorial at the chamber center. But they never understood what that truly meant. Earth didn't just make us strong. It taught us the value of every life, because we knew how easily life could be lost. The Arxen representative's containment field pulsed with thoughtful colors. You could have conquered us all. Your technology, your military capability, would have won us an empire of ashes, Lynn finished. Instead, we built something better. A galaxy where strength doesn't mean domination, where different evolutionary paths don't mean inevitable conflict. She turned to face the memorial, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. 300 scientists died because of fear and misunderstanding. Their legacy lives on not in vengeance, but in the bridges we've built between worlds. The chamber fell silent as the names of the dead scrolled past on the memorial's surface. Each name represented not just a life lost, but a lesson learned, about fear, about strength, and about the true nature of those who evolved on humanity's deadly cradle. Earth is still classified as a death world, Lynn concluded. That will never change, but now the galaxy understands what that really means. We are dangerous not because we choose to be, but because we had to become so to survive. What makes us different is that we learn to be more than just survivors. As the session ended, representatives from dozens of species mingled freely, their former fears replaced by genuine curiosity and respect. Humanity had revealed its strength, yes, but more importantly, they had revealed their wisdom. The galaxy had learned that Deathworlders were dangerous, but they had also learned something far more important, that the most formidable species in known space had chosen to be peaceful not from weakness, but from strength. In the years that followed, when new species joined the council and asked about the memorial at its center, they would learn the story of humanity's revelation. They would learn of the day the Deathworlders stopped playing nice, and of the day they chose to show mercy instead of vengeance. They would learn that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to choose a better path. The end.